Jim, got a question for you.
No way.
Yeah. Something's percolating since last night.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw Jurgen Klopp's post-match interview.
Jurgen, no.
A game at which Liverpool had won 5-1 against West Ham. Is that correct?
Great victory, yeah. 5-1.
Yeah, but he just said,
Not happy.
Fans are a bit shit, no?
Yeah. Paraphrasing, aren't you? Not word for word, is it? Which went proper Brent.
Fans are a bit shit, no?
Fans a bit shit.
I think, and I guess my question is, does he have a point? Do the fans have a responsibility? A couple of questions here. Do the fans have a responsibility to uphold the famous atmosphere of Anfield?
Right.
Or do they need to wait to be entertained or ignited? Or is it difficult after the damp squid, which was the biggest game of their season last week, to get up for that West Ham game? Because they were, I guess that's where I want to sort of
three
delve
options. Yeah,
that's what I want to delve into. Jim.
I've got to be honest. I heard his words, and useful for debate. I'm happy to get into the weeds of it. I've got to be honest. I got a tingle down there after that. I would love to hear that in the exact context of which it's meant. I listened to him talking about an enormous game at home against a title rival, where deep down you two don't know who's better right now. Like, that's another question for us to take on today. Like, who is better, Liverpool or Arsenal? But so with that game on the horizon, and he's up for that, clearly. He wants it, and he wants to challenge the fans to be up for it because he knows it can make a difference. So it's not, for me, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think it's class. I think it's like, go on.
Because he knows exactly what he's doing.
And I'm fine with that. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be like, yeah. I'll be absolutely gasping for the start of that game, because what he's saying is you have the opportunity to make a difference. And that's like fans being actually, facilitated and being able to make a difference. That's amazing. So it's nonsense if anyone wants to. Has anyone critiqued that? People have critiqued that. I find that mad.
Everyone's just like having a gleeful hop around because they get the opportunity to dig out Liverpool fans, as is football fandom, right? If you're having a sensible conversation about it, Klopp has played an absolute blinder.
Stunning,
right? He has. Yeah. He has. And it's testament to show the faith he has and the knowledge, the fact that he has, that he knows he's the club, he's the institution. Like, Liverpool are massive, but right now they are Klopp's Liverpool, right? And it goes back to kind of what I was saying last week: is you need that institutional character to lead your club.
Yeah,
Klopp is that for Liverpool. He can say anything, absolutely anything, within the realms of decency. And the Liverpool fans will say, "All right, we trust you. We understand." They won't take that as an affront, but it does give. They do now have to deal with the fact that there is going to be a fallout, and because there is a conversation to be had about whether or not the Anfield atmosphere is as legendary as the Sky Sports and everyone would have you believe. I'm not saying it isn't. I don't know, but sometimes it's flat like any big club.
Yeah. Well, so because Gary Neville said that a lot. He kept saying that, didn't he, in the Man United game? Kept talking about the atmosphere. Kept saying it's flat. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I presume he's correct in what he's saying. And I think what seems to happen with Gary Neville's commentary this year, or maybe I've just noticed it, or maybe he's always done it, is he'll find his thing, and he kind of keeps going back there. I noticed it a few times this year, and I can't imagine how difficult it is to do co-commentary. So whatever. I really
it is really difficult.
So I'm not digging him out.
And often you'll know, Jim, that you forget that you've used words. You Simon Jordan does it. Simon, as someone who's articulate as him, will use the word priced into thinking 16 times a show.
Really?
Yeah, and I get done for fundamentally what there's a few I get done for, but fundamentally I get done for. But you're not thinking about how to reach different parts of your vocabulary or things to talk about. Sometimes you have to sit back, especially if you're live and then millions of people watching. You have to sit back on what you're comfortable with and what you've agreed with.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to, if that's what Gary Neville's doing. To your point. Like,
and it's the same for me. So I get to do it in quiet, right? So I sit here and I watch it, and then I'm looking at other things, and I'm trying to go, what's the story here? What's the story of the match that I can sort of put forward in a video quickly afterwards? So the pressure's on, but I can look at it and formulate and message Kai, and we're chatting, and we're going down this road. And once I'm happy with that, then I'll okay, right, let's look elsewhere. So, but he can't do that in the moment. He literally has to talk about it. So it's understandable that he keeps going back to those things. But I think the mix of, I think there's I've seen it like, and a lot of our peeps will know when they support a team that goes through leagues, you have periods when you're kind of too good for that league and really, really dominant. And then there's times when you're like, poor. And when you're a bit too good, often there isn't that tenacity or bite in you as a fan because you're just expecting to win. I think that's the hardest thing for Man City. That's the hardest thing for Man City. Of course, like they're utterly expected to win. So the atmosphere is not going to be that. It's hard. I think it's really hard. So that was the problem with Liverpool.
No, you're right. You're right. Definitely. I think less the issue. I think that it was clear, apart from the first 10 minutes, that this wasn't going to be as easy for Liverpool fans to experience as they thought it would. Everybody thought they were going to steamroll United. And we had the conversation last week about football doesn't always go that way, but we were all convinced that it would be a 2 or 3, 4-0 Liverpool win, right? And as it turned out, Manchester United were pretty competitive. They're much better than before. They had chances to score, right? So for all that reasons, that's going to change the sort of dynamic of the atmosphere inside the stadium. And so when you're realizing, oh shit, this is tight and Manchester United might score, that enthusiasm is replaced with nervous energy. And you don't sing and scream when you're nervous about that. And like I said, like you imagine all of the conversations from all of these Liverpool fans going in, giving it to all their Manchester United. We're going to batter you. Because that's correct as well, right? You've got to go early. You've got to back your team. But the whole world thought they were going to batter Man United, and they didn't. And that energy, I'd imagine, in the stadium, like I said, would return to nervous energy pretty quickly. Then to have West Ham next in a League Cup, which, despite what everyone says, no one in the top 6, apart from Spurs, no, even we don't take it seriously. We should, but we don't take it. No one really takes it seriously. The clubs do, but as fans, you're not really looking at the League Cup and going, "I'm desperate to win that." They went into that game against West Ham expecting to win. They annihilated them pretty much the entire game. West Ham had a weakened team. So it's difficult to get up for. What I didn't like what Klopp said is he said, oh, maybe it's the amount of games that you've got to go to. Like, if not, give your ticket to someone else. I think I heard that. I turned the radio on. He said something about giving your ticket. The amount of games you have to play.
I think you can hear it 2 ways. So you can go, what he's really saying is, I need you up for it here, guys. And if you're not up for it, give your ticket to someone else this week. He's talking to the proper fans. He's not talking to the tourists that will have got a ticket somehow. So I think when I'm listening to him, I'm imagining if I was a Liverpool season ticket holder, or, Liverpool fan, full stop, who's really invested in it properly. And he's saying, even to say you've had an average game and you've won that game on a Wednesday, on that, what day is it? What day was it yesterday? Wednesday. Then you can, I think if he sat down quietly to someone and went, that was a little bit lackluster, mate. We've got Arsenal on Sunday. I need you to be up for that. If you're not up for it, I need you to tell me because I'm going to pick someone else. That you go, no, hey, boss, don't do it to me, boss. I can play. Like,
Jim, also, like, if you remove all of like your fucking, if you are a Liverpool fan and you're hurt by that, like, fucking get over it, grow up, right? Because you've just had a manager say to you that wasn't good enough, that wasn't loud enough, that isn't going to help us. And as you said, Jim,
let's fucking go. Is what he's saying, really.
This is how you do your part, right? And if you can't do it, give it to someone else. Oh no, but I've been going to Anfield for 45, 50 years, and that's my seat, and no one will tell me what to do. Right? I've had that season ticket for 50 years, and I'm a season ticket holder, and do you know what? I'm sounding very London here. Maybe I'm talking to some other sets of fans, but there's a sense of because they pay in, they owe nothing to the players who earn a fortune. Anyway, what he's saying he's creating and building a foundation instead of damaging this idea that Anfield is a cauldron. He's creating it again. He's saying, "You wait," and the atmosphere against Arsenal on Saturday will be incredible. It will be incredible because of this.
Totally.
He's played like you say, Jim. He's played
and there's some if you sort of zoom out a little bit. There's also you need energy in every way you can get it when you're playing the amount of games that they're playing. Another thing he's very keen to ram home is that Arsenal have had a whole week to prep for this game. We haven't. So he's nervous about that. And two, I think there's something a bit deeper here where one thing that Arteta showed an element of vulnerability with, so it's not one to hammer him for, but it's something he has revealed has been the problem he has had at Anfield as a player and then as a manager. So a game like this, I think there's an element of mind games there from Klopp that he smells a bit of blood and he needs it. They need it. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like, this is what sport's about. So can you get yourself to a position to be in those big moments in those big games? And so for Liverpool and Arsenal, Klopp knows it. And what I love about Klopp is that he always attacks. Every manager has their own personality, right? But every moment like that, he attacks with such like positivity and tenacity. And I think he sees this as a game of, there's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot of conversations of, can Liverpool do it? Or can Arsenal do it? And I think most people overall at the start of the season were saying, it's Arsenal, Man City again. Liverpool, no, I'm not sure about the defence. I'm not sure about the defence. And but it's building blocks, right? So a game like this, and I mean, maybe we could have a quick look at Liverpool's fixtures aside from that. Like after that, that might carry you through to the next sort of set of games to kind of win those. And then you get into January and it's on, right? But these games, like the psychological battle of it and getting a victory in those games is so important. So he knows that. So Burnley away after that. Newcastle.
Well, I mean, if Arsenal win, they're 4 points. Tough. 4 points clear of Liverpool if Arsenal win at Anfield. Like that's like then you're starting to really have conversations. You're already having conversations about Arsenal, obviously, unfortunately. But
do you think? Because I think the Liverpool team is. I was going to say the Arsenal team is certainly here to stay, right? In the top 3 or something. As much as I'm sure that pains you, right? So what we always see, there's like eras of sort of battles, right? And Arteta and Klopp have had a little bit, haven't they? Those games have been quite spicy, like the Xhaka thing. We were chatting about that on the Ripple Effect.
I mean, they're both knobheads, aren't they? So like they're gonna rub each other up the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is going to be? It's not going to be about Pep and Klopp. It's going to be about Klopp and Arteta. Do you think?
I think. Look, it's whoever is in the title race. If it's a 3-horse race, then there'll be a needle between them. But there generally is 2 that go at each other. Klopp and Guardiola. Do you know what? It always feels like with them, it's about ambition, and they're aware that they're the best, and that they've been battling each other since for 10 years, more than that, 15 probably if you include Bayern Munich how long's he been at? 10 years. 10 years, about 10 years. And so I think for them it's like a mutual old combatants going at each other constantly.
Yeah.
But I think Arteta's behaviour on a touchline is comparable to Klopp's, whereas Klopp might imagine you're here, be respectful, but he doesn't have the ability to be respectful. He's not a respectful human being, so he's one who is just dominated by his ambition for his football club, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it will rile up and contribute to the atmosphere. If there is a flashpoint moment like that one that we talked about on the ripple effect last week. You know, where
Xhaka was it?
Xhaka
Yeah.
goes into someone.
Still not having it. Still not having the Xhaka moment. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, well, we'll listen to there was a conversation about it. Listen to the ripple effect. But
Yeah, sorry.
Those flash moments, and there will be some because it'll be highly competitive. All of that, all of the emotion, all of the relationships or that thereof between the two managers, and the way they choose to deal with their frustrations will all lend into what should be one of the best games we see this year. Yeah. Saturday, by the way, Jim, can I just say,
go on.
For sport, for anyone who likes sport, not just football, Saturday is incredible.
Yeah, QPR, Southampton. Do you want to talk about that now? Then
absolutely. That's
gonna be amazing.
But if the people are living under a rock, there is probably the best boxing card that there has ever been. Certainly in the last 3 decades.
I must have been living under a rock because I don't really. So why is this then? It's none of the big boys, is it?
Yeah, Joshua's fighting, Wilder's fighting, all on the same card.
Not each other though, are they? Nobody's.
No, but they've signed to fight in March, so they're on the same card. They're fighting 2 people that could both of them could potentially lose. Joshua's in a tricky fight, and then they'll fight again in March.
Can his opponent scrap? Can he go?
Oh, he can.
Yeah.
I mean, he loves it. Yeah, he loves it. He'll get involved. Yeah, he'll throw.
Quite the pugilist. He's a pugilist.
He's less. I wouldn't a pugilist. I wouldn't get. He's more of a street fighter than a pugilist. I tell you, he's a lovely pugilist. I do miss Johnny Bourne. I do miss. Can I? No, but just quickly, and it does tie into football. The reason why this is happening, essentially, there is so much money being thrown at boxing by Saudi Arabia that what's happening at football is pales into insignificance compared to how they're taking over boxing.
Really,
they've managed to get in England. They've got, but no one's complaining about it. Like boxing fans have fewer scruples than Liverpool Liverpool fans, but also football fans.
Yeah.
But there's not really any boxing fans going, I don't think this is good for our sport. Everyone's going, this is amazing, right?
Right. And it's prize fighting, isn't it? In its essence, right? It's about the money. It's a money first approach.
I'm 100%, James. You nailed it. Boxing is about generating money for boxers, for promoters, for bookies. That's what it is about. Prize fighting, indeed. If you want to see the purest form of the sport, you watch amateur boxing, but no one does, right? Unless you're really, really into it.
They've got head guards.
Yeah, it's not about knocking someone out, is it? Oh, just go fucking knock him out. Don't hear that at amateur bout.
That's a boxing equivalent of like those annoying shouts that you hear at the football where it's like it's a goal kick and he's hit it long and then they've headed it and then they've headed it and then they've headed it and then someone's like, get it down
on the ground.
Get it down.
Mate, there is nothing. I don't know if you've ever been to a live boxing match.
Knock him out. This is one bloke, really annoying bloke. Knock him out. He's got his massive gloves on and a fucking helmet. It's hard.
Jim, it's like, when there's this weird energy when you're when you're watching boxing, especially if you're the home favorite has the majority of the crowd, and there's this undulating noise and attention. Every eye is on the ring. And you see a fighter coming forward, and he's starting to land blows, and you hear it. It's sort of like this cacophony of fucking masculinity, and it's like, yeah, you shouldn't love it. There's a lot wrong with boxing. You're essentially paying to watch one man render unconscious another man. Which is weird when you really think about it. Like, what are we doing here? But when you're there, you get swept up in it. Anyway, look, it's brilliant, and I can't wait to go and see another fight. Right? The thing is that what they've been able to do, in the same way that they've been able to manipulate football to some degree with their money, is they've been able to get the 2 biggest promoters in Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren to work together and put their fighters on the same bill.
Right.
So this is a Queensberry and Matchroom promotion. It's mainly Queensberry, but so you've got fighters from both stables in the same building, operating in the same area, working towards fights with each other. And the only difference between then and now is Saudi Arabia, and that's it.
Well, and the money that Saudi Arabia provide, right?
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
the oil money. So sports washing is well and truly in full swing.
3 cheers for sports? No, 2 seconds.
I mean, when it comes to boxing, 3 cheers for it.
Right. Okay, good.
Yeah, because boxing,
Right.
the thing is, boxing never claims to be.
It is confusing. I can't figure. I thought all right. I thought there was some moral fibre in some of this. I thought you could transfer it across, but not in boxing. Just in football.
Well, football holds it up as a bastion of good, right? It's a good thing. It does good. It saves lives. It helps. It perpetuates good, positive political ideas and all that stuff, whether you believe it or not. Football holds itself up on a pedestal. It does. Whereas boxing's like, we don't care. Yeah. This is what we're doing. It's legal. It's fine. Fuck off if you don't like it. It's that kind of energy.
So I've started watching the Netflix doc, the golf one. I think it's called Full Swing or something like that. And it gets to the sort of live golf bit, and the best bit of journalism in terms of a question that just utterly works and cuts through all the rubbish is that they go. They talk about if Putin was going to pay you enough money, would you go and play in Russia? And he goes, and Paul's panicking. He's going, speculation. The amazing is the world he's in. He's going, that's currently speculation. I haven't been offered anything from, just to be clear, guys, I haven't been offered anything by Putin yet. But then the journalist goes, what I'm trying to say is there, if the money was right, are there any moral grounds of which you wouldn't take the money? And he doesn't answer it, but he does answer it. He goes, what deep down what he's saying, and obviously this is incredibly difficult for everyone in the world, and when it comes to that moment for you, that's a tough thing to sort of turn your back on, because money literally is currency and can change the world. Ian Poulter can't speak, and he's not going to speak. He's going to deal with that awkward moment, and then he's going to go and count his money. That is the world we live in.
Absolutely, and he will forget that interview. He'll forget it even exists. Like I got it the other day, Jim. Right, I get it the other day. Last night, I was driving back from. Doesn't matter where I was going. I was driving back home, right? And I went. All right, if you must know, I went to see. No, I wish. No, the amount of times at live show, just going for a wee. Nosh.
Oh, can I tell you about? Right, I'm gonna tell you about it. Can I tell you about something? Right.
I need to tell you about something.
Tell me yours first, because I'll remember that.
All right. So I tweeted a picture of us at Spotify.
Yeah.
And I had my arm around Rory, which I assumed would get some kickback.
Christ.
Yeah, that always happens.
Does it?
And so I just said, I typed in, I went, I just great to be back on the Ripple Effect for my boy James Allcott. Right, that was it. Picture of everyone. Some bloke who'd been following me for years, Soldier Soul, with a little crying emoji. And I'm like, I was sitting there, I was like,
really ram it home with the crying emoji. Do you think that was do you think that took a while to make that decision? But this hasn't got the punch I really want.
Well, it's
full stop's not doing it. Crying emoji.
The comment's since been deleted, and I wouldn't mention it other than the fact that I was sitting there and thinking, there is a difference between how I used to talk about football and how I talk about it now. And perhaps I've hardened in my. I couldn't really give a shit about the fucking health of the game really anymore. Whereas before I was like, that was all I was all consumed by. I think there's more important things in my life to worry about than such things. Anyway, but that's not what he was talking about. I think he was just mentioning it was the fact that I'm willing to sit next to Rory or whatever it might be, which I am, and it will never be an issue. But it goes to the point you was just making about Poulter or Henderson. The journalist can say that because he will never be in that position. He can be asked that question because he knows he doesn't have the, for whatever reason, won't be put in a position where he has to answer that question. As a journalist, you have to ask it, I guess. But for me, if it was mine, I'd say, what are you talking about? Do you know how much money they're offered? Do you know what that can do for my child's life? I don't give a shit about your pious question. When I go home, I see my kids. I see the world that I've created for them. I can see how much happiness can potentially bring to them, that they can bring to their kids. That's how big this money is. So you can stick your question up your ass, mate. That's what I would be saying.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I care more about them than your question. And that's fundamentally what it is. I will do what I think is right through my career to support my family. And that's it.
No, I get it. And I think that's what the That was one of the conversations. We didn't actually talk about Jordan Henderson in the top 10 moments pod that we did. But that was, I think that was the baseline of it. Really, was that he was. I think it was just the sort of, it was the gap in between of, well, we know why this has happened, and you don't feel comfortable really saying it, so you're going to make something else up, and then if everyone could see it, so that then becomes a story, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
What's that got to do with people coming up to you and saying "nosh"?
Nothing. That just pops into my head. It was lovely. I was just going for having a piss, walked by. Didn't even see the bloke. Just nosh. Yeah, all right. Well, then. All of them bottled it, though. Not one person.
I get one blowjob. Yeah, fuming. So, one thing. I came up the stairs once. So, toilets were downstairs, guys. Anyone wasn't at the live show. For everyone that was at the live show, thank you. So special. Amazing to chat to you all properly as well. And we had a good time. I think we're getting there in terms of the show itself. I think we had a good time. We'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, the toilets were down the stairs. So earlier in the night, I came up the stairs and someone sort of like looked at me. I can't remember who, but basically he said, "Is it weird going down there?" I went, "Yeah, I'm on like high alert all the time because I'm sort of going, am I going to get offered out for a blowy, I want to make sure I get my wee etiquette right, all this stuff." Later on in the night, I've had a few Guinness, all right. I've had a few Guinness. I've hoovered down a burger. It's been a long day. Okay, it's been non-stop, hasn't it, Flat?
Did you have a burger, did you? What, two burgers? You had two burgers?
No, we had a burger, didn't we, before the live show?
I thought you had another burger.
Another burger, no. Just on the side.
Give me two burgers.
No. Give me two burgers, no. And anyway, I thought, I could do with I just needed to have a number two, all right?
You had to turn out at the pub?
I needed a two. Needed a number two, all right? I need a number two. And I thought,
hang on.
And then there's a moment here where I've got.
There were times I felt like I needed a number two as well, but I didn't.
We all do. An animal. We all do a do. I always say that.
Not when there's like 200 people in the pub just for you.
Well, I know, but it was late, and I was thinking I might be all right here. Anyway, you open the door, and I'm thinking it's the moment. It's like, who's going to see? Because that's the weird thing. So obviously, we've shut down this pub. There's no one in this pub apart from people that have bought tickets, which I couldn't get my head around because I was like going past people in the pub, and I was sort of going, "Oh, excuse me," thinking they don't know who you are, but obviously they do. But that's just anyway. That's a surreal thing that is life now, but it's wonderful. Anyway, so I go and open the door, and you know who you are because we were joking about it afterwards. And I'll come out, and I just went, and he's looked at me, and he's gone back to his thing, and I've gone. What? Yeah. I go, I have. I've gone the offensive. I go, what? Yeah. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've had a shit. All right. I've had a shit. And he's like, no, I know. No, I was just going to leave. I was going to leave it, mate. I was going to leave it. And we said this whole thing. It was so funny. It was class. And the whole live show was really, really good. We did is there anything Thomas Martin can't do? The Ainsley. So we had an Ainsley off. It was a mix between Ainsley Harriott and Naked Attraction, which worked. I was pleased with that. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, but it worked very, very well. I
thought it was struggling at the beginning with the feet. I thought I kept going to the
what
gym.
Did I say? And what did I say? I said, "Stick with me. We're going to be just fine. Just need to get to the second round." And the second round was great. But yes, so for those of you that weren't there, you missed out on that. So we will do another live show. Absolutely. Got massive ideas in my little small brain that I want to turn into a reality next year. And so stay close, stay a part of it. And I think what's great is that everyone's you can see everyone becoming friends again, which is great. So that was wonderful.
Was nice. It was a brilliant atmosphere in there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Once again, people disappoint. We got people disappointed with the diversity. That's not on us. That's not enough.
Yeah, we get a lot of that, don't we? Look, you're the audience. You have a word with yourselves. What we supposed to do about that?
Sort your race out. You know,
there were. I mean, the ratio was quite small, but there were people of different ethnicities there. Yeah. Just the majority of the content you produce is for young white men.
Clearly, I think fortunately, do you know what I love though? I love that I've cultivated an audience that are white and unhappy with the audience. I'm not sure they're so aware. I'm not sure I feel comfortable in this establishment. There's
Yeah,
too many white people. You're
It's-
white too.
here.
Can we not just
You're-
all be
it's-
people?
You're like someone who's stuck in a traffic jam, complaining about traffic and thinking they're not a part of the problem. You're in the traffic jam.
That's a great analogy. Very good.
Ollie
Anyway,
said it was a
good.
sea of 20s white blokes. It was. Of which you're one.
Yeah, of which you're one, Ollie.
Can I just a couple of things in the live show?
We did get to the conclusion of quite a heavy debate that's been raging on over the last few weeks of the butter and the mayo.
butter.
Do you want to explain that?
Well, we've been talking about this on the mailbag for a bit. If you want to become a patron and listen to these sort of conversations and get in on this in joke, then you can become a patron. The link is in the bio below. But we had an ongoing discussion about whether or not, if you're putting mayonnaise in a sandwich, do you need butter as well? And I'm of the persuasion that every sandwich you start with butter in the bread.
Buttery base.
Jim's saying, it's a buttery base. Jim's saying if you have mayonnaise in it, then you don't need butter, right? So we had this debate out in the pub, and it ended by the pub more or less wholly screaming butter, 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 which was one of the most surreal and funny experiences in my life.
Yeah, because we established the argument. I was like, so what is the argument? We go, okay, so I'm saying this, you're saying that. Right, hands up, who's with me? And it was sort of quiet. And then, hands up, who's with Flav? And everyone's like, oh, it was medieval butter. It was great. It was great.
The other thing was me. There was two bits for me as well. Was that when we talk about nosh, and instead of using nosh, I used the word blow. And everyone's like, "Whoa!"
Oh, really?
That's too real.
Too close.
Real.
Right.
Did you not? You maybe were reading one of your questions at that time, but they was going, "Whoa, that's too real." And that was funny. And the other one was when I was making a joke, I'm pretty sure was going to land absolutely fine. Was saying that the losses out, if you're not in the Premier League, if your club loses, it shouldn't really hurt that much. A loss doesn't count unless it's shown on Sky Sports. Obviously, I was joking. There's a couple of really confused people going, "What? What?"
There's a Stoke fan and a Bristol City fan who are not happy with you at all. Right. That was hilarious.
Well, the Stoke fan should realise that because he was in the Premier League recently.
Exactly. I want to show something. So we did the Ainsley. So we did an Ainsley off, and Will. We'll get to all the Ainsley stuff in just a second, but just to show you this from the live show, and again, another reason to get involved in the live shows in future. We want to make them bigger and better and more special as well. So get involved. Can I make this bigger? I can. Right. So this was right. So we had round one, right, which was everyone did their celebration, Ainsley celebration, and it was just the feet, and the whole crowd had to decide who should be voted out based on the quality of their feet. Within the
Are you showing something here, Jim?
Yeah, I am. Sorry, I'm showing the first one. Hang on. I'll show you.
Right, okay.
Here you go. Because, you need to see the other ones as well. Right. Got it?
Yes.
Good. So this was after the first round. So we then were going along, and people had to boo to vote for who they wanted to go out. Now, the Will Hester, who is the man who took his shirt off, threw it at his girlfriend, and then did his Ainsley, which we'll show and relive, because it's in, spoiler alert, it's in the top 3 Ainsleys of the Ainsley celebrations, which we're going to reflect on. He gets voted out. His feet weren't up to much. But we didn't know that.
Were they?
We weren't getting it up. It was a resounding boo as well, wasn't it? Everyone was like, out.
They forgot. They forgot that there was a screen up, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was the kind of point, wasn't it? To give that anonymity and that opportunity.
Move your feet.
Yeah. So here it was, and this is the moment where Will missed out, but we don't know it's Will. We're expecting Will to go deep in this because of what we've seen before. So here you go. It's that moment. He's already taken his top off.
If you remember, Will is the one who did it in front of his missus on Twitter, as Jim just said, and that is why he came out with his top off, because it's exactly when he came out. I was like, "You fucking legend!" Yeah, that was exactly the right thing to do.
Great teeth Will had as well, by the way. Congratulations on those teeth, Will. Right, let's do some bits.
He's a legend.
Let's do some bits for the podcast from the running order last week, and so we're going to get to Ainsley in a second. So Jim Big Laugh Award. Zoom in. Here we go. It's from last week's podcast for a couple of thoughts. So Flav, this is diabetes. Flav declaring his support for any bullshit rule that supports his club while ominously inward burping is pure cinema. It's like his conscience is trying to get out and he has to swallow it back down.
That's well funny.
That's funny. So that made me laugh. So that's a nominee. That's it. Last week, Mario said, the first thing I'd do if I was drinking piss mid-podcast is state that I'm definitely not drinking piss. Because last week I wasn't feeling great and I was on the Lemsip. It was Lemsip.
It's weird that you had it in a like a AG1 container though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's the issue.
But that did make me giggle. And Big Burrito 2373. On any given night, there are two men that look like Poch and Postecoglou laughing in a bar in the Mediterranean or Latin American countries. Do you know that made me laugh? Is that if you just close your eyes for a second and just and get them out of their tracksuits or whatever it is, but just imagine Poch. And Postecoglou certainly has got like a gold necklace, which you can see, and you can kind of see a bit of chest hair there. And they're just somewhere hot, but it's obviously the sun's gone down, and they're sort of about 5 drinks in, little bit sweaty, just enjoying each other's company and having a giggle. Yeah. I can see it, and I bet it's absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, amazing.
So that was it. I had a live show recap. Butter, we've done that. That's good. Epic reframe. Jonathan Smith, so he's warned us early doors. He's gone hot take / trigger warning. This is epic reframe after epic reframe here. Speaking with my pal about the plight of Man United, he said, back Ten Hag and get rid of the players as they are the problem. I clapped back, saying Ten Hag is spineless. The first test he had was when he got slapped by Brentford, and instead of sticking to his principles, he bottled it and changed style to avoid losing games of football. Shows his weak mind, and that is when he lost the belief of the players, and that's why they're underperforming. His mate then asked, so who would you have instead? Which is always the question with Man United. You go, because I think there's been a thing with a lot of managers getting away with it, because you go, well, if you sack him, then when's it going to stop? And that manager's got very lucky, because if you would have been gone, because there would have been other options. So he asked, who would you have instead? And Jonathan said, with my chest out, in my opinion, the best fit for Man United is Sean Dyche. He plays arguably the closest football to prime Fergie and would demand respect, as no one would want to mess with him. Do you think Sean Dyche could get a better tune out of this Man United squad than Erik Ten Hag?
But at what cost?
What do you mean?
Well, firstly, that most of what that guy said is nonsense. Like it's not a hot take; it's bullshit. But after losing to Brentford, didn't they then go on to win the League Cup and finish third in the league?
But
what is manager
playing poor football apparently?
I mean,
to the detriment of a lack of a philosophy, which I know you've been banging on a lot about this year.
No, I know, but he didn't lose the dressing room if you then finish third and win a League Cup. And then he's saying Sean Dyche, which the football is not anywhere near what Prime Fergie's football was like. Prime Fergie's football, as per Jap Stam and Roy Keane and Gary Neville, who played in it, was a team that was completely on the front foot, that left 2 centre-backs back all the time. They won the treble that year. So that's Prime Fergie, isn't it? When Sean Dyche ever done that? I
don't know. Well, I think it's interesting how what feels like not progressive football with Sean Dyche, which I think is harsh because they've actually played some good stuff, is if you pick it up and put it in 1999, maybe does look like fast-flowing, really fun, exciting, attractive football.
Do you think?
You don't know.
I hope so. I'd love to see Sean Dyche at Man United. It would be amazing.
It would be amazing. Imagine you'd have to listen to a lot of Sean Dyche's voice.
I'm fine with that.
That's a lot in it. It's a lot though.
I'd rather listen to Sean Dyche than
it's a lot.
Almost any top flight manager.
Fair enough. This is great. This is just this is great prose. Is that the word? I read this and I thought that's really good. And this is to wind you up, Flav. But I think I know you, and you know I know you, and I know that you know that I know you. And I think you'll rate this. I think you'll have, like, in a weird way, you'll have huge respect for this sentence. Here we go. So this is directed at you. This is from Dear Nuts and weird name. Sorry. Your refusal to see Arteta as anything but a petulant bad loser is kind of weird. You will eventually have to concede that what he's doing is a good thing, but I guess you just aren't there yet. Superb.
I mean, I've said multiple times on this pod.
It's strong, it's powerful, it's demeaning, it's patronising. Your refusal to see Arteta as anything but a petulant bad loser is kind of weird. You will eventually have to concede that what he's doing is a good thing. But I just guess you aren't there yet. I wash my hands of you, Flav. There's nothing I can do. I think it's a really good sentence.
I mean, yeah, it would suggest that he's really indifferent to my opinion, yet leaves a comment.
Good.
But
it's a good thing to do, right? So there's no bite there.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to pretend to be indifferent, but leave a comment. Yeah. As a rebuttal, I would merely say that I've said on many occasions that Arteta has done an incredible job at Arsenal, but you have to take into consideration every advantage he's been given. It's fine. That's what you want your manager to have, the advantage. You want them to have an almost seemingly endless abundance of money to get everything he asks for all the time. And then on the back of that, you expect a club the size of Arsenal to be challenging for the league, and he's on par, really, for where he should be. And what manager gets 5 years? What manager loses his first 3 games and just gets given the time that he has? He's in a position, and he's, like I said, he's been given the advantage that almost no manager would be afforded, other than Guardiola or Klopp or someone like that. So that's what I would say. Or my comment about him is he's a man baby, can't handle defeat. That was my comment. That's a fair thing to say. It's nothing to do with his ability as a manager. Is his childish reaction to something that doesn't go his way?
Do you know what I'd like? Right. I'm intrigued by this weekend because, yeah, I've been disappointed with Arteta a little bit this year, and I liked him and I backed him. I have backed him. He's on strike 1.5 for me. So if he disappoints me this weekend, that'd be a real shame. I don't want.
Sure, he'd be right crushed about our thoughts on him, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Has it come out yet, guys? Has it come out yet? It's 8:00 on a Friday. Has it come out? We've got to do training, Mikel. I've got to know what Flav's saying about me.
Yeah, what I don't understand is like why are you defending it? Why do fans? This is something good to talk about. We don't have to do it now, but why do fans feel like they have to blindly defend their player, the behaviour of their player and their manager? And this is. And I'll just give you a case in point, and I'm going to take it to Tottenham, actually, not Arsenal. Clever. Spurs fans, there was a tweet the other day that said that they looked at all of the cautions that have been given to all of the top centre-backs in the league, and Romero's caution rate is something like, I can't remember the metrics, but it was at 43%, right? And Saliba was on 16%, Van Dijk 23%. Like the clear outlier here was Romero. And the way the guy framed it was that there was some sort of bias towards Romero or an agenda against Romero. Like, no, that's not what's happening. He's a maniac. He goes into the traffic. He leaves his studs up. He goes through players. He does the type of the way that he tackles invites cards. It's on Romero. Just because he plays for Tottenham doesn't mean you have to create some weird fucking tweet that has no basis. Defending him merely because he's a Spurs player. Just go, yeah, he's a dirty cunt. I love it. That's what I say.
Conspiracy, I think it's something against him. Of course, he's at that. He will let you down. He will let you down. If say he's there for the next 5 years, he will let you down 8 times in big games. But he will also be. He could be awesome in 12, 20, 30, whatever. Right? At some point, you'll go, enough. I'm fed up with him. Go away.
No. There has never been a player as good as him that gets bombed out of a football club because of his discipline in terms of his cards that he amasses. That doesn't happen. The quality of the footballer always overrides whether or not he picks up cards.
But if you pick up cards, you get sent off. Especially in modern game when there's VAR, you're gonna become a liability because your team's gonna end up playing 10 men.
I do agree with what you're saying. It can be a liability. I'm just saying it doesn't happen in football where someone as good as him is sold because he picks up yellow cards.
Okay. Well, last week we were talking about sort of words or sort of puns within the name of a football team. I can't remember what it was last week, but there was
No, it was names that rival fans use to describe the team rather than saying the actual name.
Yeah.
So,
and we were having that's it. We were having like a deep conversation about something, but someone had arrived late to the live, and so just wrote Preston rear end. And so the top comment last week was him going, "I've just got to Preston rear end." He just caught up, which is funny. But a lot of people put some new ones in here, so here's a few might tickle you. At Lawrence Penman. And I'd like more of this. I'd like it for players. I'd like it for anything. Can we create some new names here? I feel like there's got something. As a Derby fan, Snottingham Florist has to be the personal favourite of mine for rival name calling. Florist. Is a florist negative? Snottingham Florist.
It's just a bit, I guess.
Yeah. Jack's gone with Mould Trafford. Good, isn't it? That is good. Mould.
Ipdick Town.
Ipdick Town, yeah, that was good.
Mate, fucking that! How good was that?
Ipdick Town.
No, Ipdick Town, but the Farmers Derby or the Six Finger Derby, or whatever you want to call it, the Tractor Derby. What?
Six Finger Derby.
I live in the country with the big-eared boys.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
I can say what I like. Okay. Yeah, but that's got to be up there as because Ipswich are good. There was so much like there was a bite to it.
Yeah.
And that derby doesn't get recognised for what it is, the amount of hatred involved in it.
Yeah, they really don't like each other. That's why I think Arsenal Liverpool is going to be amazing for a long time, because what makes it better is when I don't know which team's better.
Yeah.
So, and that just makes it class, yeah.
Arsenal are better, I think. Arsenal are marginally, as the league would suggest, but it just feels like they are further down the line than Liverpool at this stage. But if you're picking one to win the league now, Jim, if you just had to pick it, who are you picking?
I get what you're saying totally.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, I said Liverpool would finish above them, but above Arsenal. Yeah, I think them. And so for that reason, I would kind of stick with Liverpool, but I totally get it. And I think the sensible answer is Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so too, as much as I hate it. Do you think Man City are done, Jim? Quickly? Are they?
No. I think we're just.
Are they going to do it again?
Do you know what I think it is? I wonder. It's a bit like, when you've got a month to do, this coursework or whatever it is, and you wait to the last week to start. I think that's Man City a little bit now. I think they kind of need to get.
They keep doing this, though. It's not like a healthy way to succeed, is it? Yeah. I mean, it is if you keep winning, I guess.
De Bruyne will be back, and that will start to put the pressure will be applied. Can Liverpool and Arsenal deal with that pressure? Because it will. Say De Bruyne comes in, those guys come in, and they start like popping off. Then.
Yeah. But De Bruyne and Haaland is scary if they can get them both back. Booby mentioned actually that when they won the league, I can't remember which one they were talking about, but he was saying in January everyone was writing the season off, and then they won the league, and we're not even in January yet. We still got a few games.
Do you know what the thing that people aren't talking about is? So De Bruyne has been out for ages, right? And I think if De Bruyne's out between now and the end of the season, I would be heavily concerned about Man City winning the league. But it's not just about De Bruyne being back. It's about De Bruyne staying fit. So you could say, we've got De Bruyne back. If he breaks down after 3 games, it's redundant. So it's not just him coming back. It's a guy who's been injury prone that you haven't got Gundogan to rely on to get you out of big games, or Mahrez as well. So it's on De Bruyne a little bit to come in and sort it or get them, ticking a bit. So it's not just him playing, it's him staying fit. And I think that's where I really wonder now. I really wonder if they are actually going to go and do it, because the tenacity is there for Arsenal and Liverpool for sure.
Also, one final thing on football. Did you see Leverkusen won again last night?
Did they?
4-0.
Mate, he's killing it.
I'd love it I really, really love it if Bayern Munich didn't win the league. It would be brilliant.
It'd be hilarious.
Because then Harry Kane, what did he leave for? You've gone to Germany to not win the league. Oh,
So you don't want him to be happy, Harry Kane?
no.
Not if it gently titillates you for a day.
What do you mean? Well, how would it titillate me in any way?
Well, you were saying you're excited about the fact that him not winning the league, and so this whole move of his entire family living in a hotel for a bit to go and win things because you only get one career, despite actually he'd rather live in London and be happy with close to his family. All that being an absolute, washed away in disappointment. As long as that gently titillates you because he should have stayed at Tottenham, then you're fine with it.
Yeah.
Old Trafford. Big flange is another one. Big flange, you think that'll stick?
Mold Trafford. Big flange. Big flange. Yeah, that's shit. Yeah. Because there's better ones already. There's much better ones. Imposter-Coglu and Cholesterologlu or something. Those are better. Cholesterologlu.
That's really hard to say. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, it's better.
We said goodbye this week to Steve Cooper, sadly. Or
he's going to go to Palace, though. He'll be back at Palace.
Oh, did he? Or as Gollum said, Steve Blooper is my favourite name for another club. And this made me laugh. I know it's mean, but, it did make me laugh, sadly. He said, re-adventure kids. Steve Cooper has the permanent look of a man who's just walked out of a dark cinema into bright sunshine. Just it did tickle me. I'll be honest.
That's not mean. It's fine. It's not as bad as a headlock, isn't it?
Okay. John McGinn. I don't know if I'm bothered about this or not. John McGinn will get or should get a statue outside Villa Park. He's been there from the beginning of our trajectory. And if you want to do the numbers, he smashes all those too. Every Villa fan loves him. Now, used to hate him, didn't they, Catherine? She's not here to defend herself.
And also, she was here. She's at a meeting or something. But she also, mate, I just like Villa fans and all power to them. Like all power to them, because I was exactly the same when we were in a similar situation with Poch. But it's like they're giddy at the moment. And long may it continue, but because it's a great place to be. But they're coming out with some madness. That's what I'm saying.
What's the madness?
I'd imagine there are players that have done stuff at Villa that's worthy of a statue more than John McGinn playing decent football for 8 months.
What could happen here is that, and I'm not saying it will do, but it could happen. Okay.
18 months.
Under John Gregory, back in 2000 or 99, I think it was, Villa were like top in December. Villa fans tell me if I'm wrong about this, right? And they fell heavily, right? The person saying that John McGinn deserves a statue, essentially what you're saying is Dion Dublin deserves a statue. Because I think Dion Dublin or Stan Collymore deserves. I think he was playing that year. Paul Merson. You're saying Paul Merson deserves a statue at Villa Park. Slow down. But could they?
Gareth Barry? Would he have been playing then? Probably.
Yeah, I think he probably was. Beedy, I just thought this was interesting. On the question of whether, this was last week, we were talking about Chelsea, would they be better off keeping the academy lads instead of spending wildly? Here's a list of current players that you might have heard of that Cobham can claim. So, in goal, Bulker. No idea. Right back. I should know that, shouldn't I? Livramento, Lamptey, Reece James, John Sterling. Centre-back, Gay, Tamori, Chalobah, Colwill, Christensen, Mepham, Clark Salter, come on, Humphreys, Ian Matson, Ola Aina, Nathan Ake, Declan Rice, Ampadu, Loftus-Cheek, Gilmore, Hall, Gallagher, Swift, Baker. Musiala was at Chelsea, was he? I didn't know that.
I seem to remember that. I think some of these players were bought, though, rather than academy players, but gone.
Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Elise, Saki, Eboué, Boga, Bertrand Traore. Oh, yeah. Abraham, Brozier, Nketiah, Solanke, Brewster. It's an okay squad, isn't it? Could have been so different.
He makes a good point, didn't he? Not all bangers, but solid mid-table, and you'd have £1 billion in your bank to, I don't know, build a stadium or something.
Indeed.
There's some that is incredible. Their production line is insane.
Yeah, it's mad. So, just quickly before we get into the Ainsley thing, and before we we'll then say goodbye for a couple of weeks, probably, unless you're Patreon. We'll try and get the Patreon going if we can. Although it is Christmas, so it gives a fucking break. Come on. Right, couple of options.
Jeez, you reacted there like there has been the clamour for a mailbag midweek. But...
Nah, I don't think it must. The manager. This I thought was good, Reese. Well done. The manager who has received the most "he's got to go" shouts, but has still hung on until the end of the year. David Moyes, I think.
Yeah,
is the winner of that.
It's interesting you say that. There was this graph, and it was. I'll send it over to you. It's really interesting. It just shows you the fan happiness. There's a survey. There's a fan happiness depending on 5 or 6 metrics like atmosphere, stadium, squad, transfers. And West Ham, for winning the trophies, their diagram, or whatever you call it, it was like a spot, like one of the ones where you have little points. I can't remember what it's called. It was tiny. Like they just feel they're so much less happier than they should be, generally, and all of it generally, yeah, and then all of it stems from the fact that David Moyes is still the manager, I think.
I know. Are they sort of handcuffed to him because he's won a trophy now?
I think they're over that. I think they're over it. They just
short memories, isn't it? Short memories.
They're very angry. They're very angry of what he did at Anfield. The other night, because there was like thousands and thousands of West Ham fans, and he just didn't play anyone worthy of winning that game.
Okay, get your answers in here, guys, in the chat. Tom Shrimplin asks, "What's the Something's Happening Here award?" Well, I think you got to say Villa, haven't you? I don't know. I think you can go elsewhere. On a broader scale, could you say Brighton? Obviously, it's petered out a little bit, but they've become one of the elite teams. Brighton, like you're worried about playing Brighton these days. So for that to have occurred, I think is incredible. Playing in Europe, like they are, and they're still in Europe. They could win. They could go and win the Europa League.
Bad.
Yeah, and same for Villa. Could win the Conference League and get in the Champions League. It'd be crazy. What else we got here? JC Football. Most social media impressions for appointing a manager, and the winner is Wayne Rooney. Although the Birmingham fans, Luke, flip-flopping, saw him on the live shows. Oh yeah, we won this week. Hang on a minute, you despised him a minute ago. Can't keep up. Cannot keep up. Probably Rooney. Rooney's a weird one.
Can't trust a man who flip-flops like that.
No, it's difficult. How can you trust? Certainly wouldn't trust him with my business. What else we got? Best Ainsley podcast moment. Okay, let's do this. Or best epic reframe. Best epic reframe. I'll give that to Gary O'Neill. He has made us reframe, or Iraola. It's one of those two. Both of them. Yeah. Gary O'Neill. We weren't giving it to him, but he's done well. And Iraola, we thought he was just another foreign manager about to get on the scrap heap. Look at him now.
It's flying.
Yeah. Okay, best Ainsley podcast moment. Right, now's the time. So, we'd like to... What's the best way of doing this? Let's go here first. So we'd like to send a message out to the man, the myth, a national treasure, Ainsley Harriott. Ainsley, on Christmas Day, you're going to see a lot of videos, okay? And we would like to explain ourselves on our podcast. This is our podcast, James the Fly for Now. And so it all began with this picture that you can see right now, Ainsley. And before I get into this, Ainsley, don't be afraid. This is all being said with love. This is my co-host, Flav. Flav, you agree with this? There he is.
Absolutely. We adore you.
We adore you.
Legitimately.
So this was at an event where Ian Wright was and Emma Hayes were being lauded for their careers. And they went around all the famous people and they went to you, Ainsley. They went to you. And you did this stunning piece of work. Now, I was fortunate enough to be in the room that night. And I passed on that story. And we spoke about it in the podcast. Because the move, it was stunning. It was entertaining. It was wonderful. And we wanted to see more of it. So we put it out there. We were like, oh, amazing if like a pro footballer or someone else could do it. Now, Ainsley, you won't be aware of this. This has caught legs, Ainsley. This has really caught some legs, okay? And so now we are a few days away from Christmas. And on Christmas Day, we're going to be asking people to do the Ainsley. But what is the Ainsley? Well, you know, Ainsley, you've been doing it for years at a very high level. But other people have wanted to get to your level and put themselves out there. And we've had loads, absolutely loads of Ainsleys. Just to give you a recent one, this is one. So we asked people if they were going to the darts. This is Taryn. Taryn was at the darts. Taryn is a fan of the podcast, and he's a fan of you, Ainsley. And he did the Ainsley. So here is the Ainsley.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Good.
That is the Ainsley celebration. Okay. But what are the best? We've had a lot, Flav. We've been very fortunate. But what are the best? I've put together the top 3 Ainsley celebrations. And
it's been a complete it's been a complete celebration of Ainsley Harriot's moves. And like James says, this has caught fire in our little podcast that is James and Flav for now. I've got to say, I think that there are a few. You've got the guy on stage, which was incredible in front of 2,000 people.
Okay.
What?
So I've got 3. I've got 3 that I think are the top 3.
Oh, go on. You're going to play them. All right. Go on. Let's play them.
So Ainsley, again, this has gone far and wide. This has gone across the country. And if you were willing to do an Ainsley, it would be the Holy Grail. That would be it.
On Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, it would be over. We would ask no more of you than just an Ainsley from Ainsley.
Yeah.
But people were doing it all over the country. So this is Jacob. This is one of my favourites. He's doing the bulletins on the radio to over 100,000 people. And this is him doing his Ainsley Harriott celebration, cooking away.
Spells were expected across Norfolk and North Suffolk today with temperatures up to 5 degrees. That's the latest. I'm Josh Barnes.
Beautiful.
Now, and importantly, Ainsley, you might not even be aware of this, but Ainsley, what you did, I saw in the moment, was that you looked to make your sauce, and then you would take a little dip and taste the sauce. Now, people have then gone to put on their own ingredients, seasoning, whatever they've needed. So that is an absolute belter. People don't know that, but he filmed it, obviously, and people can't hear it. And this is definitely in the top 3 as well. This is
this could be number 1 for me.
This could be number one
for me.
So this is Ben Lancaster, Ainsley. And Ben is playing Buddy at the Dominion Theatre in the showing of Elf. And this is him, was he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along. And he did the same. He bought into the idea of the Ainsley. And at the end of his first show, there he is. Get ready, here it comes. He's cooking away, Ainsley. He's cooking away. Loving life. That's the influence that you have, Ainsley. That's how you've changed our lives. I know it's weird, Ainsley, but stay with us. Stay with us, Ainsley, because there's one more and it's about to get a little bit more weirder, but it's all good fun, Ainsley. Please keep watching. So this is Will. Do you want to explain this, Flav?
I kind of think you should just play it. But what we asked for is for Ainsley's in a natural environment. Yeah, in the wild, in an unsuspecting place. And if possible, to celebrate with an Ainsley in front of people that don't really understand it. Like, you know, probably the position you're in a little bit, Ainsley, right now.
So this was Will. Will took on the challenge. Just a bit of fun as well. And thank you to the girlfriend as well. I don't think it's dumped him yet. But this is Will.
Yeah,
doing what? Doing the Ainsley.
No.
Didn't understand it, but we liked it. We loved
it. That was our number 1. Well, it could be our number 1. I don't know. We don't know. We'll see. But
so in the chat, as we make one last plea, Ainsley, Merry Christmas. Firstly, thank you so much. We've been having fun with this for about a month, and it came from your spice for life. Your ability to not just put your hand up when someone said, "Oh, Ainsley's in the crowd." You stood up and you were counted for. And that has spawned this whole thing. So thank you, regardless, Angley, if you don't want to do this. absolutely understand. But you will see people doing the Ainsley, and they're doing it out of love. So Merry Christmas, Ainsley. Merry Christmas to everyone as well who's got involved and done this over the last, I don't know, about a month, right?
There's
Top
still
one.
time. There's still time as well, isn't
That's
there?
it. So Christmas Day,
Christmas
we're all
Day,
going to do it,
there's
Ainsley. Make sure you do it. Use the hashtag. We'll get it out there. It's going to be great. And what's your number one, Ainsley, Flo?
I love Will, and obviously we've met Will, and since this we had to meet him after seeing this. But for me, 100%, it's Ben Lancaster. There's just everything magical about that. It's the distance from the camera. It's the fact that it's in front of 2,000 people. It's the little dance at the end. For me, it's Ben Lancaster, closely followed by Will.
Special mention for, and I think I just said Jacob Barnes, but I think it's Josh Barnes, because all the time in my head I'll be walking around going, "I'm Josh Barnes." I'm always doing his voice. So you've got a great voice. I've got to, it's got to be Ben for me as well. Will, heartbroken right now. I'm sorry, Will, but that was outrageous stuff. But yeah, just another great example of the fun that we're able to have with the podcast. So it's all good stuff. That's all I've got for the pod.
Yeah, all right.
Life's good. Merry Christmas, everyone. We hope you all have a wonderful one. Flav, love you very much.
Love you too, mate. Remember, Christmas Day, hashtag Judy Ainsley. See as many on Twitter as possible. Retweet them, comment them. Let's just get it going. Maybe get it trending. Bit of fun.
Have an amazing Christmas, guys. All the best. If you want to become a patron, you can do. Links in the description. But if not, don't worry, guys. It's all good. It's all love. Right. Ta-da!
See ya.